So anyways, we received a call just prior to 9 o'clock last night about a explosion, fire in the area. Our battalion chief, Matt Chernopsky, put out an immediate call for a second alarm due to the number of calls and the information that was coming in. So he made, an awesome call to get the people here. Obviously, people that understand the firefighting side, that deploys other departments coming to our area, people that can handle our stations to, handle the rest of the business going on in the township, and then people coming to the scene to help us. So I got the call within a few minutes of that there was a situation going on. I responded from my house that's over by 16 Jefferson, so literally about 7-8 miles away. At that point, when I left the building, I could hear the explosions that far away, and I'm thinking to myself, hopefully this isn't what I'm going to. Within a mile down the street, I realized this is what I'm going to. Approach down Groesbeck here, coming towards 15 Mile, and you could see the amount of fire just coursing in the sky, and the explosions were actually shaking the car. It was that that much going on. So got here, we had our apparatus basically throughout the area on 15 Mile and Groesbeck. They were trying to approach. Obviously, as firefighters, your first thought is you see fire, you want to go put it out. They were trying to approach it, and obviously with the explosions, there was absolutely no way that we can do that. And talking with everybody, here, it's one of those things that is a difficult decision that was made, but our battalion chief, along with some assistants, made the correct decision. We had to back out. There was no way we could put people in harm's way like that. So then it becomes how far is far enough. So we did have some, pretty courageous firefighters from our department and other departments that were willing to, be as close as they possibly could, because we had the concern of other buildings catching on fire. We did have some fire that was coursing down the railroad tracks. We weren't sure if it was these buildings or not, but it ended up being the grass in the area. So we did deploy some apparatus over there to put that out. So obviously we get here, we're trying to figure out what's going on. We had an initial report that it was a certain company that ended up not being accurate, so we did find out that it was this company called GOO. They're a distributor to the vaping community in the area. They had literally received a truckload of butane within the past week, and they still had over half of that left. So this is what you're seeing strewn throughout the area. All the canisters, which you had nitrous, you had butane, and then they had some other products in there. So obviously at that point, we're basically dodging all these things going through the air. We did have one of them that ended up almost going through the window of one of our apparatus last night. It did injure one of our firefighters. Fortunately, he came through it okay. We did basically force him to go to the hospital and get checked out last night. They had him in and out probably within about 15-20 minutes from there. So they do take care of us very well. We're very fortunate in the county to have all that. So we ended up having communities, basically Roseville, St. Clair Shores, Sterling Heights, Selfridge, Mount Clemens, Harrison Township, the county hazmat team. So on the side of being in a county with a little bit smaller departments, no one department can do it all, so you have the team pitching together.
Can we talk about injuries?
So the one injury to the firefighter we had that checked out, he was fine. We did unfortunately have an injury to another individual, I believe 19-year-old, and as I was looking at my phone, it was reported that he passed away. So it was about 4 o'clock in the morning. So I don't really have any additional information as to the name or anything like that at this point, but very unfortunate. The person was essentially about a quarter mile down the road here and did suffer an injury from one of these flying canisters.
Can we talk about the debris field and this huge mess?
Yeah, so it was much worse last night. We ended up having the county come out, once again, one of our other partners come out and basically kind of scrape the road and use some of their equipment to get it out of the way. That was our large concern last night as we were kind of wrapping this up, is we got vehicles coming through here at 50 miles an hour on Groesbeck, and any one of these pieces could have taken the car out. Next thing you know, we got injuries, accidents going with that. So we're hopeful that we could clean that all up. So that was the big concern, other than the air quality issues last night, and then obviously the explosions and keeping people away. Like I said, the railroad police and their personnel were on scene last night, making sure that their tracks were good. They're actually going to be limiting the traffic through here due to the most recent explosion we had about 30 minutes ago. We do anticipate there probably being some additional ones throughout the day, but hopefully they're tamed. That was the first one since 3 o'clock in the morning that we had occur over here. So Detroit Edison is on scene. They're actually going to try to get power back to the majority of the area down there, but there's still 2 buildings that they're going to have to let lie right now because of the danger to their personnel getting back there, and they don't want to put anybody in harm's way right now. So
You're talking about air quality. We've been talking to folks.
Yes.
What's the concern there?
So initially the concern with the huge plume that was going on last night and the products in the building, and obviously we know, basically no smoke in a fire is good smoke. So we had the county team come out, hazmat team, along with county representatives. They monitored the situation. They had all their equipment set up. They had people basically throughout the area cordoned off, and basically a report came back to their equipment over by our, where we were staging over by the Kmart / Harbor Freight area, and everything came back fine. They weren't concerned. Luckily, the weather cooperated very well with us last night. Limited wind, so we had that going in our favor. Right now, obviously, we're doing all right, but we're anticipating some rain coming in. Obviously, that'll help with some, suppressing the smoke into the area that's still coursing up. But obviously, it's going to hamper some of our abilities to investigate throughout the day. So.
And Chief, can you talk about the interference with 911 call center, and can you also say, was the 19-year-old student walking or just observing in the area?
I believe he was just observing, is from what my report was. I'm not sure exactly what, where it started or how he came about to be over in that area. I did not have any reports last night of any issues with our dispatch contact going on. The report that came in initially on that one is they thought there were shots fired, and obviously that was just due to the explosions and the metals hitting buildings and hitting off the ground. So that obviously did not come out to be accurate.
So no 911 centers?
I have not heard of any. I was just in touch with the emergency management personnel, Brandon Lewis from over there. He did not mention it. I personally haven't received any information on that, but certainly we're planning on doing. Our supervisor, Bob Cannon, obviously anybody who would like to come back over to the Township Civic Center at 10 o'clock, we're going to try to dig in a little bit further to see if we got any additional information at that point.
I think we were hearing about Sterling Heights, that their entire 911 operations were down.
Oh, theirs? Okay,
Yeah.
So Sterling Heights is part of the Comtech system that's handled, they pretty much handle about half of Macomb County. We did not experience, we were still getting our runs coming in, so there were additional apparatus that were going out on runs that weren't this last night. I'd have to actually, I've mainly been over here or back at my house for about 30-45 minutes last night, so I haven't heard reports about any issues with the Comtech side of things.
You said 19-year-old man, correct?
Yes.
The 19-year-old has passed away. Around
That's our
4 o'clock
understanding.
This morning.
Yes.
Okay. And there's no idea what exactly hit him, just...
We have some idea of what did, but the police are still investigating that side of it. So I have not personally seen the information yet, but I'm sure we'll be shared with that at some point here this morning.
You mentioned the butane from the truck is about half a truckload full. How does that catch fire and then be able to be thrown for miles away?
So obviously with the heat of the fire, that's going to warm up that bottle and cause
fire
it.
Started first.
Yes, yeah, that's our thoughts on it. We still haven't had a chance to get in there, but obviously the fire typically would have started. You get that product heating up, all of a sudden it's going to blow up. You got that vessel that is getting pressurized, more pressurized. You'll see some of these products where the actual top is blown off and the canister went up like a missile, and then you have other ones that blew up in place and then came over. So you're seeing a variety of full canisters and then ones that are totally blown apart and basically going through the air.
Okay.
So
do we know how the fire started initially?
Not yet. No. It's still too unstable, too unsafe for our people to get over there on the scene. So we're probably gonna have to bring another engine over here to kind of suppress the smoke and stuff going on. So obviously safety is crucial for our people. We were going to cordon off the area last night with fencing, but we felt that was too unsafe to do at that point. So we had our fire prevention personnel here all through the night watching the scene.
Chief, can you talk about how intense these flames were, what your firefighters were up against as they were approaching? Oh,
just a tremendous amount of fire. In my 25 years, I've been on a few big fires. This by far was the biggest one that I've ever seen. Just the funneling of the fire, the smoke going up. Like I said, luckily the weather was on our side. Had the wind been bad, it would have been, we would have had multiple buildings that were been on fire, especially if it was, heading, from the west to the east. Certainly we probably would have lost several of these buildings. The fire was that intense. So on top of that, with the products going up in the air, you got the flames. luckily, surprisingly, we didn't have any of these roofs catch on fire along with the building. So we had apparatus dispersed throughout the area just in case that possibly might happen. On the other side of the tracks, on this side of the road, so it becomes a concern. At that point, you're really just looking at the exposures to make sure that everything's under control.
When it comes to what was stored in there and accountability, to have kind of chemicals like this, flammable chemicals like this, I know the investigation's early, but what can you say about this company, how these materials were stored, and just like public safety angle? So
they were interviewed last night by our personnel, and ATF was also involved. ATF is going to remain involved at this point, so they're going to be digging into essentially what happened here. Our last inspection did not show this amount of material in that building, so we're going to look into that. Some of the reports we're still looking into, obviously the legality of everything that's in there, but I think a lot of times the industry is just not there's not as much oversight as we probably should have with some of these situations. So
when was the last inspection?
About a year ago.
Chief, can you just talk about, so at first you guys thought it was the Select Distributors, the novelty company?
Yeah, they're actually one and the same,
okay, so
kind of.
Kind of go into
Yeah.
that, 'cause that's a little confusing. 'Cause
Yeah.
in the
So,
press
anyways,
release you said
yeah, they
one.
have the company called GOO, and then they're also a distributor to the industry. So obviously, there was some thought that this was like a marijuana dispensary. Obviously, Clinton Township does not allow that. So what ends up being is that they actually supply the industry, obviously in the region, with these gases. Obviously, the vape pens, having over 100,000 vape pens in there. So that's why there was this amount of product in that building.
And so just so we're clear, if we were writing this in a track, the company is GOO?
The company, so if you see the sign right here, this sign is representative of what was in that building, what was located, the names of the company. So you have GOO, and they have certain products that they probably sell out of there, and then you have the Select Distributor side, which I believe is the one that's supplying the gases to the local area for what they do with their dispensaries, or their selling of the pens or the gases needed to handle this industry.
Half an at GOO, or so?
For one building.
Yeah, all one building.
Contained. Okay. And earlier we were told propane, so was there no propane at all?
We believe if there was propane, it was minimal. Yeah, we don't think that was a major issue in there. Obviously, there's equipment that would have propane tanks along that line, so we can't rule out that there was some amount of propane, but we think that was on the minimal side.
So
Chief,
mostly
when you-
butane then? Mostly
Basically,
butane?
it was butane, nitrous, and lighter fluid.
Chief, when you talked about, you said 100,000 vape pens. Do you know what burned in the building exactly? Is that just a rough estimate of how many and what else burned in there?
Yeah, that was an estimate that we received from the owners. So obviously, you have other equipment in there. You have some of their equipment that they obviously use to move that product around. Obviously, there's usually office furniture, different things, the structure itself. So basically, all of that was burning.
Okay, and then how will you assess when it is okay to go back into?
So we'll give it some additional time, to see if we have any more explosions. We're going to probably bring a piece of apparatus over here to help with some of the more additional suppression on it, and then we're going to, obviously involve the ATF, some other of the pros that would deal with this on obviously a more prominent basis. And then once we get that clear, we'll get our people on site and start digging through this thing.
Okay, and then anything is air quality wise. If there's a bunch of vape juices, for lack of a better term, in the air, does that cause an issue?
At this stage, we're not concerned. Our DPW personnel was out last night to check the water area. Anything that might be seeping in, that was good last night. So they'll continue to monitor that. Obviously, we don't want any of this product leaching into the water system. So that's one of our main concerns, is just the environment and everything that's going on. So we'll be obviously continuing throughout the day here, monitoring the situation.
So for the public, the main concern is just this road is closed.
Basically, at this stage, yeah. Fortunately, we were able to get Groesbeck open up. That was a concern last night, but ended up working out this morning.
Concerning the firefighter that was injured, was it broken glass?
So he initially had some glass, and then he was affected by part of the shrapnel that came through. So he did suffer some. That was our concern, is that he might have a close head injury, but he was up and talking and acting fairly normal when we were talking to him last night. But we wanted to just be sure. Got him over to the hospital. They checked him out, and everything worked out well. So.
Also, are you aware of how many vehicles, police, fire vehicles were?
Oh, I would say at the height we probably had in the neighborhood of probably 50 or 60 firefighters on scene and probably dozens of police officers. Like I said, we had the railroad police out here with some of their personnel. We had Red Cross. We had our MedStar personnel that brought their equipment over, and then we had, you start to think of just the enormity of everything that came out last night, which is incredible. Just the partnership we have that goes on. We had people reaching out all night long. Hey, what do you need? What can we help you with? Our emergency manager, Paul Brower, is over to the side here. They upped that emergency management, and they also did the county emergency management. So it just helped. You had, so many entities looking out for you, which you feel good because as you're on scene here and you're dealing with this, you're like, okay, thankfully you've got something to turn to if you do have a need, and that worked out.
How many vehicles were damaged? I know the fire
So
truck where the
we
firefighters
had 3 of our vehicles that were damaged. 2 of them were essentially tire issues, trying to get in and out of the area. The other one had some pretty extensive damage from this flying debris. We had a number of police cars that were damaged. So beyond that, obviously we had 3 that went down last night that we're now at work getting back in service right now. So hopefully we'll have 2 of those back in. The extent on the other one is pretty significant, so we don't know if that one's ever coming back into service. So we're going to have that evaluated over the next day or 2.
Any words to the family of that 19-year-old?
Oh, obviously, so tragic. That's been my biggest concern in my career as it's wrapping up here, is that we don't have, deaths on a scene. Obviously, I'm close to all of our firefighters and the community of firefighters and our police officers. So just as one of our training chief was saying last night, Steve Dalton, if you don't believe in a higher power, that nobody on our department and the other departments wasn't hurt last night, it's unbelievable, because you just look around and it kind of gives you the cause for concern. So when I got a chance to relax last night for about 30 minutes, just the enormity of thinking about, thank God we didn't have anybody that got injured last night to an extent other than the firefighter who managed to come through it. But certainly, how can you say anything about a 19-year-old who lost his life last night? It's something that will stick with you. You have these things. Over my career, are the firefighters you run on, from infants up to elderly people that are passing away, and you never get used to it. I could sit there and you just want to hug the family and say sorry. I can't even imagine what you're going through today. And that's about all I could say. You just give them the compassion that you feel, and I feel it. It's difficult. So, yeah. Thank you.
Chief. Any danger? We heard an explosion about an hour ago. Any danger to the community?
At this stage, we're not thinking that there should be any danger to the community. That's where we're trying to keep people as far away as we possibly can. We actually put up additional tape because people were getting too close over there. So we want to keep them at bay, but obviously in the last hour or so we haven't heard anything additionally. So, but we want to err always on the side of caution when we're handling something like this.